Hello everyone. The book that I am going to summarize for you today is called Snowball. This book is a financial book about the angel Warren Buffett, which was written by a close friend of his. When it comes to Warren Buffett, the first thing that comes to mind is investing. There are many things we should learn from this 90-year-old man. He is nicknamed the stock angel because he has the longest history of stock trading and has successfully invested in large companies such as Coca-Cola and Apple. As of March 2021, he is the fourth richest person in the world with a net worth of over $96 billion. His Berkshire Hathaway stock is very expensive, up to $380,000 per share. Despite his vast wealth, he still maintains a very simple lifestyle. Beef burgers and Coca-Cola remain his favorite food for decades. Warren Buffett announced long ago that when he dies, he will leave only a small portion of his wealth to his successors, and the rest of his wealth will be donated to charity. What is the key to the great success of Warren Buffett? Why is he still able to maintain his income and wealth despite the economic crisis? In the age of technology, he does not invest in technology companies. Why? What kind of investment vision does an old person like him have to be profitable for a long time? This book really explains the life and investment tips of billionaire Warren Buffett. This book is divided into two parts, so I will also summarize you in two equal parts. In the first episode, we look at three of the most influential people in Warren Buffett's lifetime. The first is his father, Howard Buffett. The second is his teacher, the famous investor Benjamin Graham. And the second is three were his partner, Charles Munger. In the second part, we talk about the three secrets that make Warren Buffett rich. The three keys are floating cash, accumulating interest, and focus. These three words sound more than understandable. I will explain them in the second part. In order not to waste time, we come to the first point about the three most influential people in the life of Warren Buffett. The first was his father, Howard Buffett, who worked as a stockbroker, analyst, and stockbroker on behalf of investors. But what his father was most interested in was his political career. Warren Buffett's father was a Republican candidate for Nebraska. But because he was so straightforward, many people were not happy with him, which made him less successful in politics. And in his career as a stockbroker, he was not very successful, so Warren Buffett was not the son of a rich man. He did not inherit anything from his father, but his father left something worth more than wealth. More money is not caring about the outside world. Ordinary people like us always care about what other people think of us. We always try to make ourselves look good. Sometimes it's a show. But what Warren Buffett learned from his father was that he never cared about opinions. He does not judge others by his own judgment, but the opinions of others do not influence his judgment. There are not many such people in the world, and they are generally people who have an opinion, contrary to the views of most people. This unique ability has made Warren Buffett very successful, sustainable, and long-lasting. And in his investment decisions is not easy because he takes clear information, makes the most independent and detailed judgments. So even when the world is facing a volatile stock market, but he still adheres to the principles of his investment. 1999 was a time of great growth for the internet and created billions of billionaires such as Jeff Bezos, Jack Ma, and Mark Zuckerberg. Most investors run after these tech companies and buy stocks of this kind of company. But Warren Buffett is not interested in these tech companies. He even said that everyone values technology companies too much. Investing in tech companies is risky and not worth the price. The word has sparked criticism that Warren Buffett failed to invest in technology companies themselves, instead of technology companies as bad as an old man. This does not see the golden opportunity, the silver opportunity. The old ideas are too old. Everyone is laughing at Warren Buffett. However, he still adheres to his principle of not investing in tech companies, the aftermath of which, as you all know, many tech companies have been successful. Billions of dollars, but more and more companies fail, countless, and you lose a lot. But Warren Buffett and his partner did not lose. Not following the wind, worrying about the waves like this is one of the most important reasons for his success. You surely want this ability, right? This may be related to your childhood. If you were young, your parents taught you to care about other people's opinions. Then when you grow up you will have this tendency. Warren Buffett, fortunately, his father taught him not to care about other people's words from an early age. Another of his fortunes was that his father had been involved in the financial sector since he was a child. So he had the opportunity to visit his father's office when he showed a keen interest in data and knowledge. financially, and he may be able to analyze that data. 7-year-old Warren Buffett already knows how to read financial books on his father's bookshelf. On his 10th birthday, he wanted his father to visit him on Wall Street. home to some of the biggest financial institutions and big banks. His father took him to Wall Street and Nasdaq and introduced him to Goldman Sachs CEO Sidney James, who was nicknamed Mr. Wall Street. What made Warren Buffett's unforgettable was that as he was about to leave Sidney James' office, he asked Warren Buffett which stock he wanted to buy. Warren Buffett always valued luck, thinking he was lucky to be born into a wealthy and well-educated family, even though his parents did not leave him wealth. We get to know the second most influential person in Warren Buffett's life, his favorite teacher Benjamin Graham. When Warren Buffett went to study at Columbia University, he became a well-known young businessman and was guided and pointed out by his teachers on financial knowledge and investing. Benjamin Graham is a prominent figure on Wall Street, nicknamed the founding father of Wall Street. In 1949, he authored a book, The Intelligent Investor. In this book, he reveals the simplest and easiest way to look at the stock market, telling you how to analyze the stock market just by looking at simple figures. Before this book was written, no one explained in detail about the stock market, do not know how it works, how to make a profit, how to make a loss. Investors who invest in the stock market also have no clear principles and arguments. Like gambling, it depends on luck. Warren Buffett's classmate recalled that when he read the book, he was as happy as if he had ascended to heaven. In addition to what Warren Buffett learned from Benjamin Graham on how to analyze the stock market and understand this complex system, what Warren Buffett learned from his two teachers were cigarette butt strategy and the art of dividing wealth. What is a cigarette butt? Is the last part of a cigarette that is smoked and ready to be thrown away. This investment strategy is called cigar butts investing, Benjamin Graham's most famous investment strategy. He's like a cheap stock, and he rarely buys cigarette butts that are thrown to the ground and set on fire, so in the eyes of others it is worthless. But Benjamin Graham sees the value of he usually picks up a discarded cigarette butt and breathes in the last breath. Such examples are easy to understand but not easy to do. Because entering the stock market is like going out on a fishing boat, not knowing where the big fish are, learning about the health, finances, and status of a company until you decide to invest in it or not is a headache. Therefore, Benjamin Graham has compiled a few principles that can be applied in the field of stock market investment, in which the most important thing is how to manage the risk that may occur in a safe area. In general, all companies have their assets, of course, also have debts. When all their assets are sold and used to pay off all those debts, the rest of the money can be distributed to shareholders. Benjamin Graham understands that although some companies are in a difficult financial situation, due to the environment and some external information can make the company's stock price up. Conversely, when he buys shares in a company that has few buyers, he will certainly buy more shares at a cheaper price. And even if that company collapses, when the company goes bankrupt, the shareholders get one share. The fair share is not considered a failed investment. So, his cigarette butt strategy is to look for stocks that are very cheap and have few buyers. He always looks for a company that is still valuable to him, but its stock is as cheap as a discarded cigarette butt, and he still chooses to smoke one last breath. In short, we need to find a company that is more expensive than its share price on the stock market. But the question is how to evaluate the real value of a company. How can all these risks be managed? And to give yourself enough time to do more analysis, these are important techniques. So, Benjamin Graham also compiled this document to teach his students. When analyzing a company, act like an observer, then investigate the assets and liabilities of that company that ordinary people do not know, and analyze why some companies can be more profitable. Some companies are not profitable. His students all know that the price of a stock can fluctuate due to many reasons, such as the company's earnings report, the need to buy and sell shares on the stock exchange. Benjamin Graham also cautioned his students that investing in high-security securities must see that the value of the stock they buy must be greater than the assets the company holds, meaning that even if the company goes bankrupt, companies that sell their assets to share with shareholders, we do not lose, on the other hand, have enough time for themselves to make decisions, although sometimes analysts, mostly like stockbroker, do the right analysis, but in the stock market, there are many uncertainties and complexities. The value of a company's stock on the stock market may be misdiagnosed due to market trends and biases, and over time, the company's assets decline. This means that the price of the stock we buy on the stock market is more expensive than its actual share price because we only look at the stock market but do not track the actual assets of the company, making us drown more and more. So if you want to use the strategy of investing in a company, in addition to learning how to evaluate the company through in-depth research and even give enough time to make the right decision, Warren Buffett successfully absorbed the knowledge of his teachers and put it into practice on the stock market battle. In particular, the cigarette butt strategy that his teacher taught him when Warren Buffett first got involved. The latter made a huge profit during the 2008 global financial crisis, and 78-year-old Warren Buffett used this strategy again and made a second profit. The second trick that his teacher taught him was to divide the property to the right place. The key here is to transfer the profits from the invested project to another project. Do not put all the eggs in one basket. This does not affect the old project and does not risk the new project. Also, for example, Benjamin Graham once invested in a large coal mining company, but he saw that the company had no future, but now has a good cash flow, dividends from that investment. He invested it. A small clothing company that has just made a lot of people must have thought that the company was making a profit. Why not try to buy more shares? Instead, take the profit to buy the shares of a small company, but then the stock of the new company skyrocketed. This lesson also teaches Warren Buffett another important point: diversification makes a difference. He later successfully implemented it in his company. When Warren Buffett bought Berkshire Hathaway, it was initially just a clothing company. Then Warren Buffett made it a business venture with a wide range of business activities, including insurance companies, Bank of America, carriers, American Express, Coca-Cola, Apple Corp., and has invested in several top companies. We cannot say for sure what Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is. It is said that Microsoft sells software to become the top 500 companies in the world. Coca-Cola sells drinks to become the top 500 companies. What about Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway? What exactly business? The answer is to invest in these companies. It has been estimated that if you invested $10,000 in the Warren Buffett's company from the very beginning, you would now have a net profit of $370 million after taxes. Berkshire Hathaway's stock price since he went up from $10 per share until now $370,000 per share. We look at the third man who influenced Warren Buffett's last half-life, Charles Munger. It can be said that they are a rare partner in the history of business in the world. A co-founder and a good partner who started and built Berkshire Hathaway together from the beginning. Those who do not know Warren Buffett really cannot clearly distinguish who is Warren Buffett, who is Charles Munger, because they are both too much in the same hairstyle, like to wear the same gray jacket. Even the glasses and the journey are also confused. What is special is that both thinking and investing strategies are not different. It is said that the two are like twins given by God. In the journey of entrepreneurship for more than 60 years, they are like two candles that melt together, have the same soul, but could complement each other, is also a symbol of every entrepreneur and co-founder. What Warren Buffett learned from Charles Munger was the most remarkable thing about the shoes button complex. No, the market is so small that his friends who have been in business for a while can now grasp the market. And he thinks he knows everything about business. In fact, he only knows the market in his small business. This theory reminds us not to think that we know everything and not to analyze and express our views on areas that we do not understand, to remind ourselves all the time. Warren Buffett was so influenced by this theory that he limited his ability to focus on three things. First, money. Second, investment. And third, personal life. Other than that, Warren Buffett does not. So in his investment, he absolutely does not invest in any field that he does not understand or are not interested in, especially technology. Even though his friend, former billionaire Bill Gates, persuaded him to buy Microsoft stock, he did not buy it because, firstly, he did not understand, and secondly, he was not interested. Charles Munger also influenced Warren Buffett's investment perspective, as did Warren Buffett's reinterpretation of the cigarette butt strategy we described above. This strategy, if implemented now, is not a smart investment strategy in this era. If you can manage the risk, any stock can be bought. Just remember that the buy is to sell, so think about its value and know the best time to sell. Benjamin Graham, on the other hand, has been investing for more than 100 years. Make biased decisions or overestimate the value of a company's stock. But nowadays the stock market is mature enough, and the technology is so advanced that buying or selling stocks just using a phone can be decided anywhere. You do not want to be frustrated if you cannot get the right pitch, so invest in a good capo. Warren Buffett decides to invest in a company based on its assets, liabilities, and profit and loss statements. The ability to lead the sustainability of the brand, business model, and long-term vision of the company, etc., is the decision. So far, Warren Buffett and Charles Munger have been billionaires, and their Berkshire Hathaway venture capital management company has invested billions in large companies. They both deal with their confidence as they choose to embark on their play activities. We come to the second point in this book about Warren Buffett and his life as a billionaire. He was the first person to be remembered when it comes to investing in the stock market, a successful person, and a symbol for entrepreneurs of all ages. What are the secrets to his success in maintaining such a stable profit? There are 3 keys to his success. First, using floating cash. Second, accumulating interest. And third, focusing. Let's talk about the first key to floating cash. We call it float. Simply put, collect money first and wait for them to spend later. Collect now, pay later. For example, you will understand in business, there is money in and money out. When money comes in from Warren Buffett, he does not let the money flow out of his pocket immediately, especially in his insurance company for many years. He uses only this method. Many other sectors also use this method, such as barbershops, restaurants, etc. We require us to insert a VIP membership card to get a discount, or easy to pay the money we put in a cash flow that can be used, or revolving, which we assume is called floating cash. But the cash flow of barbershops and restaurants compared to insurance companies is very different. First, the people who buy the insurance are the ones who have a decent living. Second, the money we buy the insurance is repaid over a long period of time for decades, and if you do not face any risk or danger, no, you still pay until the insurance company does not pay you, which is why many insurance companies have huge cash flows. Spend less capital, use big money in the long run. This is a feature of floating cash. If it's easy to understand, there are many smart people like Warren Buffett. Why not like him? The reason Warren Buffett entered the financial sector in the 1950s, when most people do not understand what to become an insurance service. Warren Buffett has started investing in the sector and has already invested 4 or 5 of these floating funds. That is why he had so much money to buy cheap stocks at that time. But too much money also gives Warren Buffett a headache, and his company now has more than $100 billion left. The money is not enough because this money is still left in the bank. There is no place to invest. But this kind of interest is not Warren Buffett's investment style, because on the stock market there are no cheap stocks for him to buy anymore. We come to the second key to Warren Buffett's success: accumulating interest. Accumulation of interest refers to the use of profits and interest from investment as working capital. So both principal and interest are increasing forever. Do not underestimate these small interest rates. If you understand the principles and its formula and how to use it, the longer the time, the more money will surprise you, like a snowball rolling down the first iceberg. Only a small piece of time to grow. This is why the book is called Snowball. For example, at the age of 20, you save $10,000 and grow by 20% per year. And the money that comes from the investment you put in the next investment, maintaining the same growth rate of 20% year, 80 years old. How much money do you have left? The answer is $600 million. Now you are so big, you must understand and know how to calculate. But Warren Buffett understands this formula and has been practicing it since he was 10 years old. Now he is 90 years old. When we apply this second tip, Warren Buffett reminds you of 2 things. First, do not run out of points. Second, do not forget the first point. He reminded the younger generation that life is like a small snowflake falling from a long iceberg. So a small snowball refers to a small initial capital. At this point, Warren Buffett emphasizes that he says long, not a steep glacier, means that the snow must roll slowly and slowly through the masses, not forced to become a large snowflake. If forced, cannot become a large snowflake, and have a force that is not going to fall apart. What makes people in the world admire is that for decades, this old man has focused on doing things that he is strong. Never do the second thing. Only know about investing. Bill Gates' father gave Bill Gates and Warren Buffett a piece of paper summarizing their key to success in a single word. They both praised the same words: focus. In terms of focus, no one can do it like Warren Buffett. Not even his partner Charles Munger praises Warren Buffett at this point. His last half-life as a millionaire was to stay in his small, simple house at 8 a.m., a 5-minute drive from work to work, to buy a McDonald's and a can of Coca-Cola for only $3.17 for breakfast. He has to look in detail at the operations in the company, from which stock to buy and sell until his clothing company receives a few orders today, etc. Not only this old man, but he also still spends time studying to find out overseas investment situation. He reads hundreds of pages of reports from thousands of companies he receives each day. You see, this is what the second richest man in the world has been doing for more than half a century. This level of concentration is something we can learn but not do like Warren Buffett's. Thanks. Please don't forget to like and subscribe my channel.